So next up on our Christmas special is a lady who I've spent many nights at the theatre with over the past year, and she's here to give us her theatre review of the year. Theatre critic Jane Hardy, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Yes, the scribbler in the stalls.
Indeed,
That's how I'm known. Yes.
Let's talk Christmas shows first,
Yes,
because I mean, there's so many of them, isn't
There are
there?
so many. I've heard very good things. I'm going to be honest and say I haven't yet seen it because of a bug, actually. Little Red Riding Hood at the Mac, that is coming up very well on the audience feedback. I shouldn't mention the audience because they're my rivals really as reviewers, but there we are. But what I would like to mention is A Christmas Carol.
Which nobody can get tickets for until January.
Well, of course they can't because it's so bleeping good. and the reason it's so bleeping good is you can't actually tell in Mary Jones' adaptation. You can't really tell, except for the Belfast references, where Dickens ends and she begins. It's so well done. It's very dark, mind you.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Very full of ghosties with grave cloths on.
Yes, yeah.
Parading about, and I think they've done it very well. The only thing I would have said is they repeat twice the very famous ending, God Bless Us Everyone, said by Tiny Tim. And I'm going to add in a factoid here that not many people know. He was originally Tiny Eric. Did you know that?
I never knew that.
Yes, that's true, actually.
Tiny Tim sounds better though than Tiny Eric.
It sounds much better than Tiny Eric. Tiny Eric, I think we would have sniggered, wouldn't we?
You would have, yes.
We would have done. But
in Belfast, you could have called him Wee Eric.
You
that
could
would
have
have
called
worked,
him Wee
wouldn't
Eric.
it?
Now that would have worked very well. We've got a whole new character developed here on the sofa.
Brilliant. Let's take a look back through the year in the
Yes.
theatre then. I mean,
Okay.
I dread to think how many productions we've both
Well, I
seen this
know.
year. But
One of the themes this year was Shakespeare, wasn't it? It was Shakespeare time at the Lyric. Now, we all got very excited at the start of the year when we heard that in the summer they were going to open up their outside space and have a kind of a bit like Regent's Park open air theatre, essentially, only in Belfast, by the Lagan. How brilliant, we all thought. And then we thought, no, the weather, we're not sure. And indeed, it was torrential rain on the night I went, but you could say rain did not stop play.
No.
They went on and on brilliantly. What wasn't on and on about it was the fun, or rather what was. You sensed that this was a world, and you got the otherness of the fairy world extremely well, I thought, in Jimmy Fay's production. What was good was that you sensed anything might happen next. There was world music, there were fairies who were differently abled, and that went down very well. It was a whole other sequence of worlds. And of course, actually, Midsummer Night's Dream, you all think how lovely in the summer, you know, go and enjoy yourself. You do enjoy yourself, but it's quite a dark play because they're going to be punished for loving the wrong people.
Yeah.
And at the end, there was a very interesting sequence with a car in the distance, and the two women, Helena and Hermia, did a kind of Thelma and Louise, and they escaped. So that was quite interesting.
what about Richard III as well? Because opening night, I think it was the longest standing ovation in the history of lyric theatre standing ovations.
It was, and I know critics who said it was a landmark performance. I had mixed feelings. I felt it was a very brave and ambitious performance, and we have to say that Michael Patrick, who mainly played Richard, is himself disabled and has developed very sadly motor neurone disease. I think he gave a very good direct account of it, really. And what was good, that was we seemed able to divorce somehow the idea, which was prevalent in Shakespeare's time, that disability was somehow to do with inner badness, inner deformity. No, not at all. This was a guy who chose an ambitious path. He pursued it. It led to battles. It led to death. It led to My Kingdom for a Horse. It led to all sorts of things. By the way, I quite liked the battle. There were mixed feelings about that.
Battle was good. I liked the battle. I thought it was
like
very well
battle?
done. I did.
Yes.
Yeah, I liked that.
I like the plastic bottles here and there. I thought
yeah,
were good.
exactly. And the wheelie bins.
And the wheelie bins.
And the wheelie bins.
And the wheelie bins. Don't forget them.
And I must actually mention Paula Clark as well, who's kind of leading the way for deaf actors out there as well, who was superb in the show.
She was absolutely outstanding. You really didn't sense that she was differently abled, if you like. I mean, she was simply a very excellent member of the cast. I agree with you totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the things that shocked me most this year was we know you for going to see your proper theatrical shows and everything, but You went to see a group of male strippers this
I
year,
did.
didn't you?
I did.
Is
I
that the
went to
first
see
time
Dream
you've
Boys.
done this?
No, it isn't actually, because there is another show. I went to see the Full Monty at the Grand Opera House. Now that was superbly done, and it's a very dark play. It's about unemployment and men in Sheffield not having anything to do, so they have to get their kid off to make some money, essentially. So I mean that, and if you know the film, you'll know the story. That was brilliantly done, and that segues in very nicely to Dream Boys.
Yes.
Now, I did indeed. I took my opera glasses and I went along to the Waterfront Hall, and it was a stripped back show, which means that because of the shenanigans that went on at, I gather, one of the hotels a while ago, allegedly, they've not allowed them to go the Full Monty. And I sense that actually...
You were disappointed.
Well, I was disappointed, and oddly, I sense that the performers were actually quite disappointed. So what made the show? Well, what made the show? Two things. One, shapely posteriors. They made the show. We saw quite a lot of those in different contexts. The other thing that made the show was people going on the stage. Now, looking at me, you may be surprised. I was actually one of those summoned, but I said no. I said, no, I'm writing about this. Yes, we all have to say But lots of young women went on stage and were manipulated into various compromising positions, allegedly. I mean, it was all good fun. But at one point, I thought, are they being slightly manipulated? But actually, no, they weren't, because I interviewed them all afterwards. And Barbara, with the spectacles, told me and the ladies that she'd had the best time ever. There we are.
There we go. So there we go, your theatre review of the year. Looking ahead to next year, anything you're looking forward to seeing? We've got lots of things happening in the Lyric.
Lots of things. I'm looking forward to the importance of being earnest at the Lyric.
Me too, yes.
There was an all-male one a while back, and I didn't think that entirely worked. Some people were very, very, very keen.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to Lady Bracknell. Will it be a male lady
I would love to see
or a female lady?
Because you know that is something that's on my wish list to play.
I
would love to play Lady Bracknell.
Well, I've got it there. Handbag. Come on, Robbie.
A handbag.
A handbag. Oh, I like your view.
Did you like that?
Oh, I like that. Do it again. Go on.
A handbag.
Oh, very good. Not Edith Evans. Different. A reinvention. Brilliant.
Jane, good to see you.
Good
Have
to
yourself
see you.
a very Merry Christmas.
You too. Happy Christmas.